Well, hello, and welcome back to that thing we like to call Curless Mania, where we talk all things pop, rock, and prog. Tonight, I am very excited to welcome to the channel on his debut, Mr. Pat Kennedy. How are you, Pat?
Not too bad at all, Tom. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be on your channel because I've been watching your channel since it started, and I love your channel. I do love your channel.
Oh, thank
And,
you so
and
much.
subscribe to Tom's channel, please. If you're watching this, subscribe.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Pat. Well, you also have to subscribe to Close to the Edge because that is Pat's channel, and
It is.
his channel is also excellent. He's got so much great content. I love
Thanks,
it.
Tom.
Yes, I love your series on what is the best prog record of the last century. What is it again? Last half century or what is it?
Last century, and someone said, "What about this century?" But I said the last century. You
Yeah,
can't win them all.
you can't. You can't. You just hey, it's just I got your drift. I know where you're going with it. Uh,
Yeah.
but it's great because there's so many great prog records, and it's just like, okay, which one is the who knows? Who it's all subjective, right?
Music is subjective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I had a good friend years ago, Tom. I'll tell you a story. And he owned a record shop. And he used to always say to me, "You have your opinion on music. I have my taste."
That's right. Everyone's got an opinion.
Yeah.
You know,
But yeah, he used to always say that to me.
that's hilarious. That's great. Well, we are here tonight to talk about a very seminal band and in prog rock. And one of my favorite bands, really. I mean, it's funny how like you don't realize how much you like a certain band. All of a sudden you realize later in life, I really love that band,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and the band, Pat's t-shirt might be giving it away, but we are talking about Jethro Tull tonight.
Absolutely.
And we are talking about two seminal Jethro Tull records, Aqualung, 1971, versus the follow-up, Thick as a Brick from 1972. And this is a battle royale, wouldn't you say, Pat?
Oh, absolutely. And would you believe that Aqualung was March 71 and Tick as a Brick was March 72? So
Yes.
it's exactly a year.
Yes, exactly. So I have to ask, this is where I've been starting these battles these days is do you remember the first time you heard Aqualung or heard Thick as a Brick? Do you remember?
I do. I do.
Yeah.
I heard Aqualung first. And I remember the track that blew me away on it actually was the track My God,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because it was anti religion. And
Hmm.
if you live in Ireland in a Catholic country and you're a young teenager, that's the track to, you know,
Yeah.
like a rebel. Yeah,
Take it to the man.
listen to the lyrics.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because, Aqualung has a lot of religious themes in it. And it's funny because, people thought it was this concept record about God and religion and
No, it's not a concept album at all, actually, Tom.
not, no.
That's the thing. Everyone thought it was a concept, but it's not.
It's not. It's not. So, well, let's jump into this. So I'm going to do some quick rundown. We're going to start with Aqualung since we're talking about it. We'll just get right
We
in.
will. We will, Tom.
And I'm going to do a quick rundown of Aqualung, and then we'll jump into it, talk about tracks and our favorite things about the record. So here we go. Jethro Tull Aqualung, fourth studio album. It got to number 4 in the UK and number 7 in the US. That's just phenomenal. Released as Pat said, released March 19th, 1971 on Chrysalis in Europe and Reprise in the USA. Recorded at Island Studios, which had just literally was a brand new studio,
That's right.
just been built in London, and also Morgan Studios where they had recorded before. Couple of quick, a lot of changes going on in the band around this time. So, just a couple of quick highlights. So, number one was Glenn Cornick started the sessions with this for this record, but was either kicked out or left. I'm not sure which half, which before the sessions were over, and he was replaced by Jeffrey Hammond.
That's right. Yeah, I think he was kicked out actually, and as Ian Anderson called him, Jeffrey Hammond. He called him. Yeah,
Yes.
but yeah, yes.
I always saw that. I was like, is that his real name or is that a joke or what is
That was a
that?
joke thing they did because see, they were from Blackpool in the north west of England, and it was just a joke where they used to say it twice.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
It
Hammond, Hammond.
works for me. Uh, So John Evan, this was his first full album with the band. I think he had played on Benefit, but it wasn't as a band member. It
Oh, he
was
wasn't as a band member,
sort of
no.
like a guest, right? So this is his first officially joined album on keyboards. Then also, this was the last LP with Clive Bunker on drums. He left the band shortly after the release of this album. Actually, it was like right after.
Yeah,
Uh,
not long after, actually. Yeah.
which is kind of sad. I love Clive Bunker, but it's not that sad because his replacement is a monster.
Oh, a monster.
so so anyway, so that's to come later. We're just giving you a little, at Island Studios, Led Zeppelin was next door recording Led Zeppelin 4 apparently. So there were two studios in there. It was like a big studio and a small one, and I guess Jethro Tull was in the bigger one, and Zepp was in the smaller one. But they were recording Zeppelin 4. Now, can you imagine that? Two classic records being recorded at the same time.
Can you imagine it? Yeah.
That's insane. It's like put your ear to the wall and you hear levee breaks. What is going on?
Yeah.
You know?
And you hear Aqualung, the track then.
Yeah. Insane, right? So this obviously this album was a turning point for the band. It was a major, they became a majoring touring act after this album was released. It was all over FM radio in the States. I mean, I remember hearing it a lot when I was growing up, and it was well after the fact. I heard Locomotive Breath and Aqualung all the time on radio.
Yeah. I think they were bigger over in the States than they were in their home country in England.
Yeah. Yeah, and they had toured the states quite a bit. Like, if you read the benefit box or the benefit stuff, it's like they were touring like crazy in the states. They were working hard. They were a hardworking band.
Very hard working, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and as we said, the last point I had on this was it was a mistaken as a concept record, and which we just talked about. So a lot of
Yes.
people thought this was, oh, it's a concept album about religion and how it affects you, and and the homeless guy on the cover is like needs God, and blah, it was just all these things. People were just reading into it like crazy.
Yes, and it wasn't a concept album at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If you go through the different tracks on it, they have some of them have a relation to each other, but most of them don't.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a couple of, I think there are like 3 or 4 songs that are religion based, but that's not the whole record. That's just,
No, no.
But anyway, so what is your impression? What's your overall, let's jump into Aqualung. What's your overall impression of Aqualung? What's your take on it? What's your favorite tracks? Like, what do you said My God is one of them.
Oh my God, it'd be my favorite track on the
Yeah.
album.
Yep.
And but I think the whole album. See, it starts off with Aqualung, and I love Aqualung. The way the lyrics on it are absolutely superb. But it was written by his wife, Jenny Anderson, with him. She wrote the lyrics, and the reason why she wrote that was that she saw a lot of homeless people in London,
Hmm.
and that's where the idea from the cover, the cover on this box set, yeah,
Yeah.
the cover came from, and that's why the home. If you listen to the lyrics on that, it's about homeless people.
Hmm.
They're downtrodden, but I love the way that track, kicks off. It's, you know what I mean?
What a riff. What a riff.
Sitting on a park bench, it's just brilliant, brilliant. And of course, he goes into the next track, Cross-Eyed Mary. And would you believe the first time I heard Cross-Eyed Mary wasn't from Jethro Tull? It was Iron Maiden did a cover version of it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, back in the 80s. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And I heard that. I said, that doesn't sound like Iron Maiden. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know the track, because I hadn't heard that album at the time, Aqualung. And I found out then we had no internet back in the day and no nothing.
Right.
Yeah, we had to go and find out and read. And Jethro Tull.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Even though Iron Maiden did a good version of it, it can't beat the original.
No, I love Cross-Eyed Mary. I think that's a killer track.
Yeah, the lyrics are like Cross-Eyed Mary. You could take up that as a religious cross-eyed Mary in the Virgin Mary,
Right.
as we know it as Catholics here in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I took it as, cross-eyed Mary.
Yeah.
Oh, being the rebel back then,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the way I took it up. And the next track, Cheap Day Return is a kind of a very short track, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
If you take the first two tracks, Tom, this is totally different.
Yes. It's a complete left turn.
Left turn, acoustic, little bit of orchestration in there. And I think the orchestration was done by, at the time, his name was David Palmer. He's called D. Palmer now.
Right.
On that. And it's a beautiful little track,
Oh, it's beautiful. So beautiful.
And that's a real English thing, Cheap Day Return. It's a really, and we'd know it here in Ireland because we're right next to him. And we'd have the same, like you'd have a cheap day return fare, to the beach.
I was going to say, I have no idea what that means. So yeah,
that's what it means. Cheap day return. There'd be special offers you'd have a cheap day return. So you go for the whole day, say to a beach in the summer.
Right.
And it'd be cheaper to go in the morning and come back in the evening than it would be if you went in the afternoon and came back in the evening.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
But it's spread out. That's cheap day return.
Okay. Gotcha. See, I I learned something tonight. I had no idea what that was. There you go.
And then it goes on to Mother Goose. Oof. I love Mother. What do you think of Mother Goose?
I love Mother Goose. I think Mother Goose is awesome. I mean, so Jethro Tull.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's if someone else played that track, you'd know straight away it was a Jethro Tull song.
Mm-hmm.
You just know.
You just know immediately. Yeah.
It just has that flow to it. I love it.
That strident acoustic strumming, and then he's got that. Yeah. I just love that. I think it's so great.
And then Wondering Aloud and Up to Me, the way the two of them. I think the closers on the first side are excellent.
Yes.
Like if you're listening to the first side, the way it starts off with the first two, they're hard tracks, aren't they?
Yes.
And it kind of mellows out as it goes along.
It does. Yeah.
And there's no inclination on what's to come on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
The way it ends.
Yep.
Would you think that, Tom?
Absolutely. I think Up to Me, especially, is a very different track for this record. It's kind of that whole, they almost sound like they're fooling around a little bit. That,
yeah, the tune on it. Doom, doom, doom.
It's just, it's very different.
It's different. It's a little bit folky in places, isn't it?
Yes.
I find it a bit folky because they have a lot of folk in their music anyway, Jethro Tull.
They do. A
lot of English folk and there's bits of Irish folk in there as well, actually, if you listen to a lot of their albums.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's lots of stuff, European folk.
Yes, it almost sounds like somebody could be doing a jig to that song,
Yes, correct.
You know what I mean? It started with Stand Up, and he really starts amping it up here,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, Tom. And then, of course, the second side opens up with My God. And My God, as they say, what a track.
What a track. Yeah.
It's just, and it is an anti-religious song. Mm-hmm. It is, if you read the lyrics of it, may you invent your religion in it. And
yeah,
that really caught our attention. Like, we were only, when we heard that, we're still teenagers when we heard that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
impressionable. Yeah.
Yeah, very impressionable. Tom, when you're that age, you're very impressionable on. And then it goes into hymn 43.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of a follow-up, really, to My God, if you listen to the lyrics on that.
Yeah.
I love that track as well.
Another great track.
Yeah, brilliant track.
God.
And the name of the next one, Slipstream, that always reminds me. Do you remember they made that video called Slipstream for the album AIM and they brought a DVD with it?
Yes, that's right.
And they called it Slipstream.
That's right, they did. Yeah.
And it's a real Jethro, acoustic number.
Sort of a linking track. It's kind of a brief one again, right?
Linking track. And I think into Locomotive Breath, Tom, you love that track. I know you love that track.
I love it. Love it. I can't, Locomotive Breath and Aqualung. I've heard those songs so many times, and never get tired of them.
See, that's the sign of a brilliant song, isn't it?
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
don't get tired of it.
I just don't.
It's fresh every time you play it.
Right.
And I love that about even albums or songs. It's fresh when you play it.
Hmm.
Even though you know it, you have it in your head.
Right.
And I love the way it starts. Yeah.
It's just that pulse. I just love that.
Oh, I absolutely amazing. And then of course the closer wind up.
Hmm.
It's pure class, Tom.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I always call this, well, most Tull albums, all killer, no filler.
Yeah. Pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah,
That sums it up.
like it's absolutely amazing track. I think
Yeah.
the whole album is just unbelievable.
What is your take on the lyrics for Wind Up, though, where he says it's not the kind you have to wind up on Sunday? I'm not quite sure what he's getting at with that. What's your
What
take?
I got from that is again there's a religious tone in there,
Right.
like the Sunday churchgoers.
Going to church on Sunday is
Yeah, they're not the kind to wind up on a, so you don't wind them up on a Sunday because
right.
that's their day.
Hmm.
You can wind them up the rest of the week, but not on a Sunday.
Right. Right. I guess so, I guess.
That's what I got from it. Now I could be wrong, Tom.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows, right? Who knows what's going on in the inner workings of Ian Anderson's mind at this time? But
Yeah, well, what I like about he's a good lyricist, right? I
mhm.
always find with a good lyricist, people will get different things from it, and that's the sign of a good lyricist.
Yes.
Where if it's basic enough lyrics, everyone knows what it's about.
No, that's a good point. That's a
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
when you have to think about it, like you might get something different, and that's his philosophy when he was writing lyrics.
Hmm.
Oh, like kind of twist it up a bit.
Yes. So I have to mention before I forget, and that is because you said you love My God. That's your favorite track. So have you ever seen is it the live version from, oh God, what is it, 1970? There's a live version from like a famous show that they did in England in 1970, and they do My God, and it's like, oh my God, it's such a powerful version. It's
Oh,
great.
I haven't actually seen that. No.
Holy moly. I think it's Isle of Wight 1970. Oh my God. And it's like they must have been, this is before the album came out. So they had this song before the album was recorded, and they did that song with Clive. It's just, oh my God, it's so good. So good.
Well, when I saw him play in Dublin, which tour were it? Was late. It was one of their later tours, around 2000. The time of .com album, and he played Aqualung and Locomotive Breath,
Nice.
and the crowd went wild,
Nuts.
wild. They didn't really want too much about the new stuff, but when they played the old stuff,
Everyone goes crazy.
the whole place went nuts.
Yeah, I had the similar experience because I saw them. When I saw them, I went to what's the Farm on the Freeway album?
Crest of a Knave, is it?
Yeah. So I saw Crest of a Knave tour in New Jersey, and same thing where the new songs got some. Steel Monkey was kind of a hit, so people were kind of into that. But when they went into the '70s stuff, everyone went crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
even now when they're playing, I know his voice is gone now, but he has to get help with his singing. But I don't think he'll be able to reach any of those.
yeah, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. And he suffers with COPD as well.
Oh, he does. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he suffers with that. So that's why his voice has come down so many tones.
Yeah, and that's just, he can't help it. That's just aging, and he can't do anything about it,
Smoking cigarettes, I suppose, wouldn't
Yeah,
help it.
maybe. But he's just, but man, Ian Anderson has done so much. His legacy is secure as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
So, good Lord. Speaking of amazing records, let's move on to the next one, which is thick as a brick.
And it's the box set as well. Look,
Yes,
set.
I have it as well.
I have it there, yeah.
There we go. I mean, is there any band that did reissues better than Jethro Tull? I don't think so.
Nobody.
I don't think so. Do you?
They're the ultimate box set.
Amazing. They're like books. It's like you books on a shelf. It's
Well,
amazing.
you'd pay money for the book anyway
Right.
to read
Exactly.
all the, all of the stuff in there anyway.
Right.
And yet they're putting CDs and DVDs and 5.1s. I
Yeah.
love it in 5.1 now. Oh my god.
See, I gotta get a 5.1. I don't have it.
I have a brilliant 5.1 system. And when I play 5.1, I can hear things I never heard before. And it's all around you.
It's like from back there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I never heard that before, and I didn't know there was even a little voice there because it's over on this side of you and that side.
Yeah.
It fills the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you're sitting in the middle of the band
Like at
and
rehearsal
they're
or something.
playing around you
Yeah. Yeah.
in a circle.
And Steven Wilson does those 5.1 mixes, right?
He done all of them, yeah. He done all of those.
So it's just really cool.
Oh, they're fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Awesome. I mean, these reissues, I just love all. I mean, we were just talking about this before we got on air that we need to get like all of them. I only have like 4 of them. I need to get more.
I'm missing 3, so I have most of them, but I have to get the other 3. I won't be happy until I get them.
No, they're fantastic. They're absolutely amazing. And we also were talking, this kind of goes into what we were talking about before as well, is that talking about when CDs first came out. So and you went like when CDs first came out, it was all exciting. It was like it was a new thing. It was like they sound better, they don't skip, they are you gotta replace all your vinyl with CDs. So of course, one of the first albums I went out and bought when this is the original I bought when I like in I don't know the 80s, and I had to put my name on it because I was afraid someone would steal it.
Oh,
There you
and
go.
what is just the 2 tracks on it? Yeah,
It
not
says
one of the 2.
it just says track 1 thick as a brick, track 2 thick as a brick. That's all it
That's
says.
the original CD. That's very
Yeah,
good.
exactly, exactly. So anyway, so that's how much a fan I am of this album. Um,
I
so
have it on CD like that as well. It's
There
over
you
there
go.
somewhere.
Probably
Yeah.
somewhere, right? Somewhere. And my older sister had this album growing up because I had older sisters, and I was like, "What is this album?" It was so fascinating because it looked like a newspaper, and it was like, "What's the deal?" There's like this 12-year-old kid wrote this album, and they took a 12-year-old, and he's getting an award.
Jared Bostock, yeah.
Year-old Bostock, he's getting some award, and he wrote the Jethro Tull. I mean, I was completely thought it was real. I was like, "Oh my God, there's this kid, and he wrote the album."
I
How
think he was
cool is
8
that?
actually, Tom. 8. 8.
Yeah, exactly.
An 8-year-old writing thick as a brick.
So,
And do you know why he brought out this album? Why he you know why? And one of the main reasons why he made a concept album and went full blown prog, because everyone was saying this was a concept album, and he said,
right.
I give them a concept album."
Yeah, you want a concept album? Here you go.
You got one.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. I mean, that's what I understand as well. It's like
Yeah.
people thought Aqualung was this thing. He's like, no, that's a bunch of songs. That's not a concept record.
I'm
So
going to give you one though.
here comes one. If you want one, this is a real. But of course, in Jethro Tull style, it's kind of a send up. So anyway, so let's do a quick rundown on Thick as a Brick. So obviously it's the 5th studio LP because the last one was the 4th. This was released March 3rd, 72, as Pat talked about earlier. It was recorded in late 71, so they were moving fast. I mean, they were putting out records back in the 70s very quickly. Produced by Ian Anderson and Terry Ellis. It was the first album with Barrymore Barlow on drums, as we talked about earlier, which is, oh my God, the guy is what a gem on drums. I mean, the guy, he plays his heart out on this album too. He's just unbelievable. Obviously, as we talked about, it's a spoof concept idea with basically kind of Monty Python-esque jokes in the newspaper concept. They put together this sort of fake newspaper that's like a small town paper, which is kind of cool.
You have debts and marriages in it, and
yeah,
for sale, or a local, someone looking for something. If you read
classifieds in it.
classified ads, yeah, and they're all funny.
Yeah, it's all good. So really, as you mentioned, this is sort of their first real, truly, prog rock record. Like this is really, they jumped into sort of prog era.
Oh, this is prog. This is full blown prog.
Yeah.
A
Yep.
lot of people talk he was taking the Mickey out of it, right? Taking, you know, against all the prog bands at the time, like Yes and all those Genesis and Emerson and Palmer. But he was serious about this is a serious prog album
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
with humor thrown in.
Yes. Yes. Because we know this. This is the thing about Ian Anderson, right? The guy he's a serious guy. He doesn't mess around. Ian
No, he
Anderson.
doesn't, man. He's serious
He's
about it.
very
Yeah.
serious. But
Seriously.
he likes to sugar it a little bit with, oh, I'm just kidding around. See, it's a joke. See, I'm spoofing this. See, he
Yeah.
likes to do that. He doesn't, I'm not too serious. See? Yes, that's what I always feel like with him.
I feel that too, actually, Tom. That's what I get from that album.
Yeah.
And like you think about it, to go from Aqualung, which is kind of rock, folky, bit of blues in it, to a full blown progressive rock album.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty
And
cool.
they had the chops to play it.
Yeah. Yeah. And by all accounts, this album didn't take that long to record. It took like a week or something.
No. And I love the way it opens.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a pun intended on the people listening to it. He said, I really don't mind if you sit this one out.
That's great. Yeah.
That's what he was, if you want to listen to it, you don't want to listen to it.
Right. Right.
And it was a huge seller. Like,
oh God, it was massive.
one track, 2 parts.
Yeah.
And I know they're broken up into different parts. If you read about it, there's actually, I think, 5 parts on the first side and 5 on the second side. They're broken up into little parts.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
They kind of named them.
The remixes, they did that. They kind of named the parts.
Named them for the remixes. Yeah. But I always know it as just Thick as a Brick Part 1 and Thick as a Brick Part 2.
Same here. Same here. Yeah. It's kind of hard to that's the way I grew up with it. It was just one. It was
and when they put in all
song.
these different parts, they're only taking parts from where the lyrics.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I think I have it written down here.
See
Like
here,
the first
born or something or something.
Yeah, the first parts are really don't mind. That's the first part.
Right.
See there, a son is born. It's the second part.
Yeah.
So but if you listen to the lyrics, they're in there. So when Stephen Wilson was doing, he just picked that for the
yeah
remix.
I don't think cool. Which is kind of cool.
It's kind of cool because it was never actually mentioned on the original album.
Right.
Or the CD you have. I guarantee it's not on that original CD.
No.
No.
No, it just says thick as a brick. That's all it says.
Thick as a brick. That's it. That's all we know.
So
and I think the first side, Tom, it's incredible.
Oh God. Yeah. Oh my God.
Like it starts with that acoustic guitar starting off.
Yeah.
Like, and then builds.
Yeah.
And builds and builds. And obviously there's different parts to it. But the way they flow into each other.
Yeah.
They just completely flow.
It does.
And he is telling the story. There's a story in there.
Yes.
The story. And it's that story that he wrote the 8-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. Gerald wrote it, right?
Gerald wrote it, yeah. I just think it's just. What more can you say about that first side, though?
It's I mean, when it just kicks into that
yeah.
Like, oh my God, what is happening? What is going on?
And the musicianship on it. And Martin Barr is a very underrated guitarist, I think.
Would you think? Absolutely.
You never hear him being mentioned up there with, all these other great guitarists from the 70s.
No, you don't.
To me, he's up there with him.
Yeah.
To play that complex music, you have to be able to play it. Yeah. And the beauty of Jethro Tull is they could do it live. They were amazing live.
Yeah. They pulled it off live. They played the whole thing.
Live.
It's incredible.
Absolutely. I love that first side so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I love when he does what is it, the part where what do you do when the old man's gone and you want do
yeah.
It's just so good.
Brilliant, Tom.
So
Brilliant.
many, it's hard to talk about this record because it's basically one song, but it's so many different parts in the song.
Different parts to it, yeah. And it's not like, you see, I always find when you have an album like that, be like, say, for instance, the track Close to the Edge by Yes, say,
Right.
you know, you can't say this part, this bit, and this bit.
Right.
Because it's one song, you have it in your head as one song.
Right.
So it's Thick as a Brick, you're talking about the one track.
Right.
Yeah, different parts to it, but you can't say, we're on Aqualung, we can say, oh yeah, Locomotive Bread, my God, blah, blah. You know,
Right.
they're different.
Right.
But this one flows so well on the first side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you turn over on the LP originally on the second side, it gets even better.
How is it possible? It gets better.
How could it get better than the first side? But it does.
It does. Yeah, it does.
As he brings back part of the first side on the second towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reprise of it.
Yeah,
and
there's
it's
a lot
done
of
faster.
stuff that comes back. There's a lot of things that come back.
But it's done faster. Do you notice it's done faster?
Right.
Like dim, 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 dim.
Yes.
It's just done so quickly.
Yes.
You have to upping it a bit.
Yep. And he even does the really don't mind with different words. You know, he does
Different words.
Yeah. It's so there's a lot of pieces and parts that come back in the
They
second.
come back. And I like that actually.
Cool. Yeah.
Because they're good. I enjoyed it first and I want them to come back.
Right. Yeah. And it kind of makes it feel like one piece, you know, it makes
One
it
piece.
Yeah.
What, about 40 minutes long, Tom? Is it altogether? About 40, is it? 38, 40?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I just, oh, sure. What more can you say about it? And the way it ends, then, of course. And it ends nearly where it started, isn't it?
Right. Yes.
Oh, yeah. So it's perfect.
It is. It's perfection. It's like,
to me, it's the perfect prog album.
and they weren't even, it's just funny because they weren't really even considered prog for, like we were talking about, for many years. It's just like they're a bluesy band or sort of folk.
They're blues or folk band or
right.
But they were prog.
But they come out, man, when they put this out, it was like, whoa.
I'd say all the other prog bands, the likes of Yes, Genesis, Emerson and Palmer, you know, all the big ones. And when they heard that, they said,
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Wait a minute, hold on, time out.
Time out, they can do it.
Jethro Tull's coming up the lane to the left. You know, look at it.
And that was a huge seller in the States, wasn't it? Thick as a Brick.
It was big. And that tour was huge. They did a huge tour.
And the follow-up album, A Passion Play, went straight into #1 in the USA.
Yes, it did.
Again.
Yes.
One track, 2 parts.
Yep. And Passion Play is like even denser and more, it's almost tougher to digest than this one, I think.
Oh, it's a different, it's darker. I think it's a different ball game, as they say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you agree with that? Do you think Passion Play is darker?
Much darker. Yeah. Much darker.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, Passion Play, I know we're not talking about it, but it took me a lot longer to get into that album. Yeah,
same here.
Because after hearing Thick as a Brick, and I said, yeah, I have to get the other one now. Passion.
Yeah.
I was looking for a Thick as a Brick part 2.
Felt the same way. Yeah.
But after good way you separate it and say, well, they're totally different.
Yes. You got to live with it.
So he not only gave us one track, he gave us 2 albums, one after the other. But isn't it amazing though? It went to #1 in America.
It's hard to fathom. That just to me is the glory.
One track.
That's the glory. 70s for right, Pat. I mean, that's what I mean, they would put out an album like this and it would go to #1. I mean, it would never happen today.
Not in a million years.
No way.
No, it couldn't happen today.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's unfortunate, but people don't have they wouldn't listen to his 40-minute track. That wouldn't happen.
No, they wouldn't have the time.
Yes.
The span of time. They want to hear everything on the go.
Yes.
Shuffle it up. One song from this person, one song from this, all that kind of stuff.
No patience.
Because I often hear my daughter talking about her playlist on Spotify. I don't do Spotify. Playlist on Spotify.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know what it is, but no, my playlist is what I put on either the turntable, the CD player, or my tape deck. I have tapes.
Yeah, yeah, cassettes. Yeah,
Yes, I love cassettes.
yeah, yeah. There you go. So I mean, it's yeah. So I got to tell you though, before I forget, I got to say this, and that is the start. You just said side two is amazing, and it is. And I remember when I was younger listening to this album, and it was doing that bomb, bomb, bomb,
Yeah,
and it's kind of this ominous kind of sounding
yeah,
thing that comes in.
yeah. It's like something reminds me of something from a film.
Yes.
Yeah, something building up, and then they go really fast into it. Din, 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 din.
Yes. And then Barry Barlow just takes off and does this like drum solo
Oh,
basically.
what a drummer!
And when I first heard that, it as you would say, it blew my boat.
Yeah, blew my boat. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Tom.
Yes, yes. I was gonna say it blew my mind, but you would say it blew my boat. So
Blew
that's
my
what
boat. Just incredible. And John Bonham was asked one time, and I remember reading it. John, you're talking to, you're the best drummer to come out of the UK, and he said, "No, ask Barrymore Barlow."
Yes, yes, I heard that. And
Yeah,
and Bonham did not give out compliments easily
no,
at all. So that's a huge compliment coming from him.
coming from him, he one of the greatest in rock.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And Barrymore, I like Barrymore Barrow is he'd be more on the jazz side, wouldn't he?
Yes, he's more of a
That,
top-down drummer. Yeah, exactly.
yes, yeah, more on the jazz side and
Yes.
a rock drummer, real heavy rock
He doesn't
drummer.
have that Bonham like ah,
Yeah, power.
right.
Where I think the jazz drummers are lighter, aren't they? They're lighter.
Lighter on their feet, exactly.
Yeah,
And that's kind of Barry is like that.
they
Yeah.
move a lot quicker too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very nimble with the sticks,
Yeah. Oh,
like it's
and
unbelievable.
yeah, but he was. I think when they got him as a drummer, no disrespect to Clive Bunker, who's an excellent drummer, but he suited all that prog going
Yes.
forward.
Yes. I agree with that 100%.
He had that lineup for a couple of years, didn't he? Because Jeffrey Hammond left,
Right.
and they got in an even better bass player in John Glasscock.
Right,
And
that's
when
right. Yeah.
yeah, and so there weren't much changes. There was only one change in about 7 or 8 years.
Right. And that was awesome. That was what a run.
And look at the run of albums they had.
Yeah, what a run. I mean,
Stability does count in music.
it does. It does. And that I think like to your point, John Glasscock was an awesome bass player. And once they had that lineup there, they could do anything. And the whole like, Songs from the Wood, Heavy Horses, Stormwatch is like, oh, I mean, ooh.
And even the one before it, or
Yeah. Yeah.
Minster in the Gallery.
All those records really, Minstrel in the Gallery,
Too
all of
Old
them.
to Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
Oh,
War Child. I mean, all of them.
they went on a run, didn't they? They went on
Yeah,
a run.
they had a run for sure. For sure. And you're right, Barrymore Barlow was a big part of that because he was an amazing drummer. And when sometimes they say, Pat, the good drummer, good band, right? Or great drummer, great band, because the drummer is such a key part of the band.
Oh, drummer is a huge part of the band.
I mean, Ian Pace, come on.
Do you ever go and watch either? Do you ever go and watch a concert, or not even a concert? Say a local band, or and you say to yourself, "God, that drummer sucks."
Yes, I've said yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you say, oh, "The music is great, but not getting there." Where if the guitarist wasn't great, you wouldn't really notice it as much, would you?
No, you don't. I'm telling you, it's a thing. It's like the foundation. It's almost like building a house on a bad foundation or something.
Yes, yes, and you do notice it if you're into music like yourself and myself, you will notice it.
Oh, it's very noticeable. Yes.
Yeah.
So
A bad drummer. Oof.
And also when you see a good drummer, you're like, oh my God, that guy's good. Like when it's really noticeable on that end too.
Oh yes, when you see a good drummer, even
Yeah.
locally, like
Yeah.
it's just
That guy can play.
he
Yeah.
can play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is true, Tom. That is so true.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, so Barrymore Barlow is like the sort of unsung hero of this record, as far as I'm concerned. But really, it's the whole ensemble. I mean, they're playing out. All of them are playing at very high level on this on Thick as a Brick.
High
It's
level,
crazy.
amazing album. So
Crazy. So yeah, so I think we, I hate to do this. This is like I just said to Pat, I said this is one of the hardest battles I think I've done. This one is very tough. This is like these are both 5-star records as far as I'm concerned.
yeah, as I said, 10 out of 10.
These are 5-star albums. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
5 star, 10 out of 10.
like you said, all killer, no filler.
All killer, no filler. There's nothing bad on nothing. Every second of these albums.
There's nothing,
So
there's not a foot wrong anywhere on these.
no, so which one do
Oh,
I think? Do you want which do I think is best?
This is just what I say is, what are you going to pick? This is just for today. What's your pick on today?
Uh, Thick as a Brick.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Because it and only because it's prog. Because
Yeah.
that is my favorite genre. Prog is my favorite. That's not taken away from this.
No.
Because that's going back to the older style Tull. But it's amazing to think though, Tom, that they went from Aqualung, which is, as you said, 5 star, and then completely different album altogether.
Yes.
Which is 5 star. Sometimes a lot of bands do that and they just fall, don't they?
Right.
They
Yes.
they try something and it doesn't work.
Yes.
But he was trying something to say to the critics and everyone else out there, well, you thought it was a concept, but now here's a concept album to beat all concept albums.
Right. Right.
And it worked.
And it completely worked.
And they were huge. You know, Tom, you've been in America. They were huge in America, weren't they? Huge.
They were big. They were big. They were selling out Madison Square Garden multiple dates. That's huge.
Yeah. You can't get really bigger than that, really.
No.
Indoor arenas in America, can you?
No, you can't. You can't.
No.
So I'm going to go. I'm going to agree with you.
Thick as a brick.
I'm going Thick as a Brick as well. It's really that's as much as I part of me wanted to go with Aqualung, but I was like, I got to go Thick as a Brick because I grew up with this record. It's that's part of it too. It's just like part of my DNA. And not that I didn't grow up with Aqua. I mean, I got Aqualung pretty early too. But and honestly, when I was listening back for this episode, I was doing my homework. I was listening to both albums, and it was so enjoyable.
I listened to them earlier on today.
So enjoyable, and honestly, I forgot my love for Aqualung is pretty intense. Like I was like, man, Cross-Eyed Mary, I love that. I love Mother Goose. I love Up to Me.
That's my favorite short is Aqualung.
Yeah, there you go. And I
love the album.
And I didn't get tired. Like you said, Aqualung and Locomotive Breath, I've heard a million times, still love them. So it's just like, I just think it's a class. They're both great. It's just whatever you feel like listening to this week.
Exactly. But I also believe, as of course my opinion, that's the best prog album of all time.
Yes, it's up there. I mean, if it's
to me,
not,
it's
very close.
I know there's nothing between a lot of the top prog albums anyway, and depending on your humor,
right? Right.
Like, you know yourself, Tom. Sometimes you're not in the humor to listen to a certain artist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You might throw on something. Sometimes I might throw on something light, in the sense that I don't want to listen to prog.
Yeah.
I might throw on
early in the morning or late at night or something, or I
might throw on a bit of Lynyrd Skynyrd. A bit of Southern rock.
Yeah. Give me 3 steps. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to listen to, or you might throw on a bit of metal, maybe.
Right.
I might throw on a bit of Black Sabbath.
Sure.
You want
feel like listening into the void. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I look at it. If I want to listen to prog, I sit down and listen to music.
Yeah.
If I want to do the dishes and have music in the background, I'll throw on rock, some other rock, something a bit of hard rock or something that you can, while you're doing the dishes,
Right. You can kind of groove along to it
you
or
can
whatever.
groove along. You don't really have to sit down and listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
I
think with prog, you have to give it your full attention.
Yeah, you really do. And this, to your point, I mean, the reason I'm picking this too is that it's just, it's so daring. It's so like they really went out on a limb and really just went for it and just hit it out of the park. You
It
know?
did. And you know what other thing, Tom, about that album? It has humor in it.
Yes. Yes.
And there ain't many prog albums out there that has humor in them.
Known for humor. Exactly.
They're not known for humor.
Oh, no.
I know Emerson, Lake and Palmer used to do their Benny the Bouncer and all that kind of stuff. And
Are you ready, Eddie?
Yeah, you're ready, Eddie, and throw them in.
Right.
But this was humor all the way through.
Right. No, I agree with you. He kind of winks the whole time. You feel like he's winking at you, like, "Hey, we're just kidding around. This is fun."
We're just kidding around, yeah, and we're not taking ourselves too seriously.
Yeah, in the live shows, they emphasize that because they would in the middle of the song, the phone would ring over the PA, and they'd be like, "Call for Mike Nelson." Like they were messing around. They would have fun on live too.
Yeah, they had fun. Yeah.
So,
and I think that's brilliant.
That's fun. I love having a little humor. I mean, Phil Collins was good at that too. He would sort of lighten the mood between songs. He would crack jokes and
yeah, it's good. It just breaks the ice in many respects, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I like that.
Dude, I think it's a smart move.
I don't like bands taking themselves too seriously.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And to your point, prog, that was kind of the thing against it, was that it was just sort of humor.
Well, that's what people who didn't appreciate prog thought, that they were all dinosaurs and pretentious and
yes, yeah, the P
and and they were really, and well, of course, Emerson, Lake and Palmer didn't help that when they had 3 trucks with their names on the top of it.
Yeah,
grandiose, like, that didn't help. Or Yes didn't help it with Topographic Oceans when they had brought in all the farm things and into the studio to make it feel like, Rick Wakeman was saying they had trees there. And
that's
when people read that stuff who are not into prog, they say, well, that's why I'm not into prog.
Right, exactly.
It puts them off.
Yeah, like that's pretentious.
Yeah, very pretentious.
And people don't like pretentiousness generally. So
generally they don't, and that's why but I always say to people who are not into prog, you haven't really listened to it, have you?
Right, exactly. Yeah. You got to sit down and listen to it, and
sit down. Don't be washing the dishes or hoovering or whatever you have doing, listening to prog.
And once prog, I always say, once prog gets you, you're hooked.
Oh, you're hooked.
Once you're in. So yeah, I think this was great. This was really fun. Thanks for
brilliant, Tom. It was brilliant being on your show. Brilliant now.
Oh,
it's an honor of me to be on your show.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so great. I appreciate that. That's great.
No, you do some great things. I love you. Because I watch a lot of YouTube videos from a lot of other people, and there's no one does it what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And you do it consistently.
Awesome.
And that's what I like. You do it, and that's why I love seeing when you put up. Now, sometimes you might put up something that I have no interest in, but I still watch it. Like you did one with the Rolling Stones not so long ago. Yeah. I don't like the Rolling Stones. I can't stand them. But I still watched it to see what, because I could learn something from it.
Right. Yeah. And
I think the guy as human beings, we should strive to learn every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And the guy that I did that with, Alan, he's a massive Stones fan, and I
know I came across like he was absolutely nuts about him.
That guy has like everything the Stones ever did. It's like, oh my God, unbelievable.
But that came across when he was talking his passion.
Yeah, he's passionate.
Yeah, passionate. And I love that when people are passionate about the music they love.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what type of music it is. If they're passionate about it and they love it, and it comes across, because I know what it's like to be passionate about the music I love.
Yes, because it comes through in your channel as well. Yeah, when you do
passionate, and you as well, Tom. You're passionate about the music.
Yeah,
that's what I love. And I always say with music, it has to come from the heart.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
feel that way when I watch your channel. It comes from the heart because I can see the minute you're on, you're so enthusiastic. And I love that because here's a man I was saying that's so enthusiastic about his passion and it comes across.
Yeah.
And you
That's great.
and that's your main goal. Once you get that across, everything else is a bonus.
Right. Right. No, that's great. That makes me feel so good because when someone says that, I mean, even like you said, it doesn't matter how many views you get. If someone feels that way about your channel, that's pretty exciting. That's
Yeah,
all.
and that's the way I feel. And a lot of channels I watch, I feel that way, and some I don't. But a lot of them I do, and I like the way some have loads of subscribers. I love Pete Pardo.
Yeah. Yeah.
His passion.
He's good. He's really good.
You know, Scott Lay there over in the prog corner.
Yep. Yep.
Passionate as well, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So very, very passionate. I love that passion.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's lots more around. Like, you know, you have Glenn there from the basement. Glenn Kellaway. Do you ever watch Glenn?
I don't know. I don't know if I know him.
Go and check him out. He's in Canada. Absolutely superb. He'd be older than I am, but yeah, Glenn Kellaway from the basement. Brilliant.
Yeah.
If you watch him, you'll see the passion.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Yes.
And talking about all the older bands again, like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's fantastic. And that's why I love your channel. And if you're watching this channel and you're viewing it, hit that subscribe button. Because it only takes a second.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it only takes a second. Because I remember one video I did went viral, right, Tom?
Mm-hmm.
The one I did with Kevin, it went crazy viral. But I was saying if a fraction of those had to subscribe, a fraction, I'd have loads of subscribers, but they didn't.
Right. Right.
They
Yeah.
watch us and it goes on to the next one.
Right. Right.
But it only takes a second. And it does, if I see my subscription rate going up and you see it going up, Tom, it does help us in the sense that, oh yeah, I'm getting more. It makes you even more upbeat to do a video.
Oh, absolutely. It motivates.
It does. It does motivate you.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Completely. It motivates you to want to do more. So that I think that's a good way to end the video. That please hit subscribe. If you like what you see, go to Pat's channel, Close to the Edge, hit subscribe, and then hit subscribe from my channel as well. Help us both out. We'd appreciate that.
We really would appreciate that. And Tom, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure now.
Thank you so much, Pat. It was really fun. I know you're a huge Jethro Tull fan, so I was like, I got to do this with Pat because I know he's a huge fan, and it was really fun. So thanks again.
Thank you very much, Tom. Thank you. And bye-bye.
All right. Well, we'll see you next time on Curless Mania. Take care, everybody. See ya. Bye.